Hello, my name's Artemis, and isn't this fandom always just put down and belittled as being a sex thing? Isn't it always fighting off that constant assumption that this is little more than a sex cult of a bunch of randy fuckers who want to bone? And I've answered that question a few times. I've spoken about this subject a few times as well, and you can see those videos around about here. But there is one question that I haven't answered that I'm going to attempt to in this video, and that question is, so fucking what if it is? So I don't think it's really any exaggeration to say that the whole fucking world is sexualized. As a sexual pulse day sexual, I notice this shit a lot. The whole world revolves around glorification of sex and lust and relationships and, yeah, go and fucking fuck. At least it does, from my experience of what I've seen. And we sexualize the shit out of everything at all different times. We sexualize fucking M&Ms. Pageants, beauty pageants are still a thing that exists. Bodybuilding, all of this jazz is all the glorification of the physical form to really get your blood pumping, you know? I mean, hell, we still have a whole aspect of socializing, which is basically go to the bar, get drunk so that you can fuck. That's how you socialize. That's how supposedly you're supposed to date, which means that having a sexual side is not apparently bad. In society, they're totally okay with things having sexual sides or being sexually focused. Hell, in a very disturbing way, often they do that around kids and then somehow make out that it's the furries or the drag queens that are the problem, but that's a whole other video. But they clearly do not have a problem with sexualization as a concept. They're fully okay with it. The difference comes when it's, well, just that. Different. Now, just like everything in life, there is always going to be a sexual component to something when a person is interested in it. That is just how we go. That's how humans operate. Sex is the very important part of life. It is the biological function that we are all designed to engage in. You need to ensure the survival of your species because evolution says so. Go and bone. Simple. Yeah, it's just how it runs. So, of course, any interest, any hobby is going to have a sexual side to it, even if you don't like it, even if you feel like it shouldn't. There's always that potential there. So to try and tell people that the fandom's not sexual is just a lie. It is. There are sexual sides to it, the same way there's sexual sides to fucking everything. The difference is that it's not super important, and it's not only a sexual thing. But obviously, we do have a sexual element to it, and it hits slightly different because the fandom often becomes a very important part of somebody's life. It becomes a very big, significant piece of what makes them happy and what they enjoy out of life. It is a place where they can find their own people, where they can truly be themselves and be happy. So it just stands to reason that if they're finding this acceptance and they're finding this community, of course they're going to want to bring out all parts of themselves to bask in that acceptance. Of course the sexual side is going to be a part of that eventually. It just makes sense, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing at all. The real difference here is that because we are so committed to being unashamedly ourselves, we don't have that sort of rigid, oh, I need to keep this to one side, I need to keep this separate in our brains, and so it's just a bit more obvious. And also, look at us. Look at how we dress, how we present. We're very out loud and proud, we're very obvious, we're very much a thing to look at. So we do present ourselves not as a target, but we can very easily be perceived as a target. So it definitely hits us a bit more on that front. And of course, with people being free to be who they are, unashamed, it means that the less socially accepted kinks that are just a little bit out there for most people to imagine are on full blast, and that's an easy thing for them to pick up on and attack. And attack they do. So what exactly is the difference? Well, it's the difference that is the difference, and that apparently makes a lot of difference. That was a lot of times I said that word. But, I mean, as we've seen, if you're talking about tits, ass, vagina, penis, abs, muscles, the world is fully fucking okay with it. They really don't care. They're fully on board. Stick that in anything you want. Totally fucking fine. But anything beyond that is not adhering to the social norms and therefore must be feared. It must be, well, that's hypersexual. So is it though? Like, I mean, we're talking about people that will see feet as a more sexual thing, and they ban feet and everything. Then things like ass and tits. Like, oh, well, we can have characters that have cleavage, even though they're in a kid's cartoon. But, I mean, the feet stuff's weird. And this is the real difference of it. It's not about how sexual it is. It's not about how lewd or how extreme it might be. It's about how different it is. It's about how bizarre and abnormal and weird they perceive it to be. And that's always been the struggle. I mean, hell, people still go on about sodomy as if the Bible was even talking about that, which, spoiler alert, it wasn't. But you still have that whole aspect of, it's weird, I don't like it, it doesn't conform, it must be shunned, it must be attacked, it must be pushed the fuck away, because it's a danger, because that's what apparently we do to things we don't fully understand, we just push them away. And unfortunately, I don't feel like that's going to go away anytime soon, but the real question is, why the fuck is it such an issue? Why the fuck do people get so invested in it? Seriously, why? And at the end of the day, it really does boil down to that question of, so fucking what? What's the big deal? Why does it matter so much? Like, we do have a sexual side to practically everything. It's just the way the world works. As a sexual post asexual, I do find that difficult, but that's my cross to bear. But if it's safe, if it's legal, and it's between consenting adults, how is it anybody else's business? If they are enjoying this in their space, on their social medias, in their privacy, in whichever way they choose to enjoy it, and you're actively going to that space to judge them, what gives you the fucking right? What gives you the audacity to have any sense of moral high ground and say, but I don't like it? That's fine. You don't have to like it. It ain't for you. So fuck off back to your lane. And honestly, this might be blowing it out of proportion, but I feel like it strikes a little bit of classical homophobia. Back in the days when anything gay, anything homosexual was labelled as, oh, it's grooming, oh, it's coming for the kids. It's that sort of religious panic of, well, I don't quite agree with it, and therefore, because I don't like it and it's abnormal, I need to frame it as something to be feared. They're coming for your children. It's something to be scared of because it can corrupt, it can endanger, it can take away the control that your very belief system is built to propagate and develop. And that's, I think, why we see it so much, because it still has the ghosts of that sense of, oh no, think about the children, when nobody's thinking about it. Who fucking cares? That's not part of this. We all have a under 18 do not interact rule here that we're pretty fucking adamant on, so you ain't gotta fucking worry on that sense. But because it's so abnormal to their eyes, to societal norms, it still carries with it that sense of, oh, but they fuck. Like, yes, bitch, so do you. How do you think you got here? How do you think your kids got here? We all be fucking, well, apart from the 1% of us, obviously. But it's why does it matter? Why is that a thing to attack? And the mere fact that they do use it to attack and it works kind of proves my point. At the end of the day, it ain't nobody's fucking business. I don't understand why you care so much, but in reality, you don't. It's just that's the weapon that you've decided is the easiest one to wield to strike down anything that doesn't fit into your tiny, pathetically boring little life and worldview. And honestly, that's just fucking sad. Let people enjoy shit. Love one another. Fairly certain that's a big part of that book you supposedly care about, but whatever. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I don't know if this is really a subject I've covered before. I've definitely spoken about how sexual the fandom may or may not be, but in terms of why the fuck we get judged for it, I don't think I've really ranted about that, so I'm glad I can fill in some gaps, because it really is an issue of why the fuck do you give a shit? Why is it such a big fucking deal? The whole thing is like, oh, were they fucking those fursuits? Yeah, you fucking your jeans. It's still an item of clothing that has an element of fucking going on. Like, not everybody wears jeans when they fuck. Not everybody who has a fursuit fucks in it. Does it really matter, though? Because the act of fucking in clothing is apparently not a problem. You just have really weird rules on what that clothing can look like. And it's the same with all of this sexualization stuff. There's a really weird dividing line of what's okay and what's not. And I just have to boil it down to, what's the real fucking issue here? What exactly is it? Because it just definitely strikes of like, the gays, they're coming to kill me. And oh man, Jesus Christ. I just, wonderful. What's the next weapon you're going to pick up and try and attack us with? Because that's all this fucking is. Calm your shit down. You are way more, the society in general is way more over-sexualized than us, okay? I would fucking put my money on that. But goddamn. But if you did enjoy this video and you have enjoyed watching it and you have points you'd like to share, definitely share them below. If you would like to support this channel, I will gleefully, happily, desperately accept your willing support. Please check out the various ways you can do that. There are feet and paw pictures available because fuck it, why not? I have feet, I have paws. People have money. We can do an exchange there. I have merchandise. Another thing. There is merch and people have money. We can do an exchange there. And there's also, of course, Patreon, where you can just support and just generally be like, I like this guy. I don't want him to starve. I want him to still be existing next week. And you can help me out by supporting me on that, which is just the nicest, sweetest, best thing in the world. It really does mean the absolute fucking world to me that people support what I do and want me to keep doing it. So thank you so much. Every little helps. Anything you can support just really does mean the world to me. So thank you. Maybe check it out. Maybe add some more to that numbers. Not saying it just because I'm desperate, but a little bit. But thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and I guess you'll see my ass next week. Bye!